And we are live, and welcome back to another episode of I Am My Own Story. I think we're on episode 11 now. But anyway, I am happy. I have a twofer. And what I mean by that, y'all, I had, my co host on Friendly Differences, DA Select, we had Thomas the Villain earlier today, and he was kind enough to stick around to do an episode of my show, I Am My Own Story. So I got a twofer. So I am, he knows that I gush over him. So without
Yeah.
further ado, Thomas the Villain.
Hi y'all. How y'all doing?
So
How's
Thomas,
everybody doing?
I want to just, I watch your videos on TikTok, and some of them you leave me pissed with some of the stuff that you say. Not you personally, but the fact that you're just getting so into the weeds and stuff. It's like no holds bar, boom, 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 boom. Other times, even though you have me pissed, you have me cracking up, especially when you dropping the F word, whatever. I'm just sitting there just laughing. But you have people who drop the F word, and it's like, you really don't need to keep doing that. But when you do it, you're making your point, So, but I'm you know, so I just want to know, first of all, where did, and I know people don't want to ask this,
Okay.
where did the villain come from?
The villain is Thomas turned up to 11. That's all it is. I have been an opinionated human being since I was a kid. I come from two very strong-willed parents, Marthan and Robert, and they were not the sort of people that bit their tongue. I decided at an early age I wanted to be a soldier. Well, one of the things that I realized about being a soldier is I can't really just say what I want to.
A soldier as in the military?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I did 20 something, 25, 26 years total in some branch of the military of some kind, the Army Reserves, the Navy, active Army. I retired in January of 2021, and it was my big sister, Belinda Harris, who lives in Virginia, who I love dearly. She was the one that introduced me to TikTok. Now, before that, I had a little rant section on a YouTube channel. I was just, okay, something is on my mind. I'm going to go sit in front of the camera for 20 minutes, rant, and then I'm going to post it. But it was my sister's like, there's this, have you heard of TikTok? Yeah, I've heard of it. Why? So you would be great on that, because my big sister has always known that I'm kind of an opinionated person. I made my first video November of 2020, November 4th of 2020. It was the day of the presidential election. And I basically said that I was tired of dragging stupid people along with us. I'm sick of having to always cater to dumb people. And personally, I'm tired of my tax dollars going to support them. I'm sick of having to carry him around. It's the reason we'll never advance any place. And it just kind of took off from there. The persona basically came out of the idea that there are so many people we call heroes that don't earn the title. Oh, well, you're a hero because you're a cop, or you're a hero because you stand in front of a bunch of flags. And these people give out the worst advice. They say the worst things. They're all about slogans. And I'm like, these are considered heroes. So who stands in opposition of that? And that's where the idea of the villain came from. It's just basically because there's no act with me. I'm not acting. This is me. This is exactly how I feel 24/7. This is, if we're going to call Trump a hero, or Matt Gaetz a hero, or Sean Hannity a hero, somebody has to be the person that these people don't like. And I figured, why not be me? So that's where it actually came from. The idea of the villain is basically because we don't know what a hero is anymore, but we damn sure know what a villain is. I might as well play that part. And that's where it came from.
Okay. All right. It's interesting that you say that that your parents were both strong, because my parents were married 6 years until my father passed. And both of them very strong, especially my mother. And I got in trouble constantly during school, up until I graduated from high school. My mother had to come up to school for me every single year because of something that I said. And it was always like, well, no, that's not fair, or, whatever.
Yep.
So did you ever, I mean, were you that person who, if you got in trouble, it wasn't for something that you did, but more so something that you said?
I got it when I got in trouble, and this is a pet peeve that I have to this very day. I don't like being accused of something that I didn't do. It's one of those things that literally start making my neck itch. As a kid, I was hyperactive. I was rambunctious. So when I was getting in trouble, it was because teachers couldn't keep up with me. So their thing would be, well, Mrs. McCormick, we needed you to come up, and Thomas is running around, blah blah blah. But what they fail to tell him is he's already done all of his work, and it's 95% right. We just won't get him to sit still. So my mother, basically, because I had the type of mother that didn't take anything from anybody. She wasn't having it from anyone. Martha was not playing. So her whole thing was, I don't care if you're done with your work, sit still. And that's easier said than done. But then we're talking about my mom, who, she will come and bring a belt and in front of the class. She don't care. Okay. So I knew that sit down and sit still came with, or I'm gonna beat your ass. That was my mother. So
But did she, but in all that, did she understand that you had this energy that you still had to, like, Mom,
yeah.
I'm finishing my work. Everybody else is doing this. I have,
My mother's big thing was she knew that I was different, but she also realized that the world doesn't care. Special black boys don't mean nothing in the world. The black boy part is still there. So my mother was always cautious. She told me kind of not so much dim your shine, but don't show everybody everything that you can do. Whatever you got to do that. But when you do get a chance to shine, you better blow everybody off the stage. You better blow everybody out the water. And that was how I always operated. My mother never came and saw me run a track meet. Okay. Like, never. But she was there for every parent-teacher conference. Okay. So Mom's thing was, I don't care if he can run. I know he can run. I've seen him running around the house. How's he doing in class?
Right.
So her thing was always, do what you're supposed to do. But when you get a chance to open up, be that person. Be, if somebody asks you an opinion, tell them the truth. Don't lie to them. Don't sugarcoat anything. Be your authentic self. So as a kid, yeah, I mean, classwork, boom, not a problem. But then they would start, they would have the open discussion, and my hand stayed up. And I'll never forget my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade class teachers. They knew I was going to give them the right answer. They just was like, there's other people in the class now. I'm going to sit down. So, kids are trying to struggle to pronounce a word. I'm over here going, excuse me, I can do it. I got the word. And the teacher's like, Thomas, sit down. My mother knew that was the sort of person that I was. And she always encouraged me to, know when you're supposed to do it. And then when you do it, okay, the spotlight's on you, shine. My dad's big thing was he wanted us to just get educated, be educated. But my father also gave me I won't even say to his eternal shame, because the man's been gone since 98, but he was the one that actually taught me about politics. My old man, my parents were smarter than, people realize. I didn't get baby boomer parents. I got old school Jim Crow era parents. My father was born in 1928. My mother was born in 1936. So the stories that they gave us, there was no ambiguity. There was no perceived racism. There was actual racism.
Right.
So my dad's whole thing was, you have to be smarter than the people in the room. My father knew one of the things that he did that to this day, I wish he was still around so we could still do it, was my father would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start watching C-SPAN. He'd have a whole pot of coffee just watching C-SPAN all day. But my father knew every person, every senator, every congressman, what city they were from, what district they were from, the last 5 votes. Did they support this? Did they support that? That was my dad. So his whole thing was be the smartest person in the room. My father could pretend to play the role of an important, smart person, even though he had a 6th grade education, you know. And my mother's thing was she had an 11th grade education, so she pressed education as well. But her thing was always there's a time and a place for everything. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't show out, you know, at a challenge. Oh, somebody challenged you, you show out. No, you wait until the stakes are bigger, the stakes are higher. Oh, well, you got a class assembly, you're going to be the person leading the solo. Get up there and sing. You better sing. You better and don't let her find that out. You know, my mother would always tell me, "Don't you got a track meet this weekend?" Yeah. What are you eating that for? I'm hungry. I don't care. You got a track meet, don't you? You want to run, don't you? Yes, ma'am. So she was like, "You don't eat this the night before. You drink water." And I'd go and I'd perform, and she was perfectly okay with it.
So let me ask this, because you said that your parents wanted you to be your authentic self. So I have to ask this for people who have wondered, and I have wondered too.
Okay.
Your nails, your black fingernails. So please explain the nails, if you don't mind.
To make a long story very short, in 1999, I had a friend named Anya Whitley, who I loved Anya, and I still love Anya to this very day. Anya committed suicide, and at the time, I could not really express my grief. I couldn't. In the span of like 7 months, I lost my dad, my mom's only brother, and a family friend who was like an uncle. But those 3 deaths were from cancer. So I was still reeling from them. We're talking 3 of the most influential women in my life, and they're gone. And then out of nowhere, my friend commits suicide. And I had all of this grief, and I couldn't really put it into words. I couldn't cry enough. I couldn't yell enough. I couldn't do any of this. So one of the very first things I started doing was, out of mourning, was I started painting my fingernails black. I was painting my fingernails black. I started in 99. I think it was like 6 months after Anya committed suicide. I started painting my fingernails black, and that lasted literally up until 2007. Yeah, 2007, 2006, when I started going to the Army Reserves. When I got out in 2021, it was a month after my mother had passed away. And remembering what my mom taught me about authenticity, I went back to painting my fingernails black. I do it now, not so much in remembrance, but more of me being as authentic as humanly possible. It's what my mother would have wanted. It's what Anya wanted. I paint them now, not out of grief, but out of celebration.
So what do you say to your critics? Because I have read some of the comments. You have those comments. You have those critics about your nails. So what do you say to those critics?
I think I do it sometimes to challenge conventional wisdom. You know, what we're taught, especially Black men, what we're taught is masculinity is extremely toxic to us. We got to be the toughest, the hardest. We got to be the ultra masculine, you know, ready to kill, ready to die, ready whatever. We keep forgetting that they're different paths. As a kid, the 3 things that raised me, and I'll be the first person to say the 3 things that raised me as a child was my mother, comic books, and Prince. Prince is a bigger influence on me than a lot of people realize. Like I think, with the exception of maybe Kobe Bryant, I have not cried as hard for a man that I did not know and was not related to me than when Prince died. Like, I didn't believe it. My wife came to me during lunch and said, "Prince is dead." I'm like, "No, he's not. Stop playing. Don't play." And go ahead.
Okay. I grew up in Chicago. Moved to California. My mother helped me drive to California. We drove in literally the day that OJ was doing his thing on the freeway. Um, and that was like the highlight of my mother's life. She totally exaggerating, said it was a shootout and all this other stuff. But okay, mom, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
We saw it. But
Yeah.
you know, when you say Kobe, that kind of surprises me because I've never been a Lakers fan, which my husband still can't understand why I'm not a Lakers fan. But Kobe, as opposed to, and I'm just gonna throw this name out here because I did cry for him, and I still cry for him sometimes when I think about him.
Okay.
Michael Jackson.
I cried, but I was more relieved because Michael had a life where he was a sideshow at one point, and him actually passing away kind of gave him the peace that he needed in life that he couldn't get.
I never heard it put like that. Okay.
Because a lot of people, if you think strictly in musical terms, Michael Jackson, one of the greatest singers of all time. But if you look at him as a person,
I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, not looking at the music and he did this and he was, so talented, whatever. I'm just saying, looking at him as a person, it's like, it's tragic, but at the same time, it's like, I grieve for him, because I grew up with him. I mean, I was supposed to marry him.
I had a sister that said the exact same thing.
So I mean, I remember my first J5 concert that my father took me to. I mean, I remember that. So so
he turned into a sideshow, and I think
he turned into a sideshow, or people
turned him into. Okay. And this is there was always a debate between Michael Jackson and Prince when they were alive. I was a Prince fan. The end. Full stop. Boom. I don't care anymore. Everybody else is, well, Michael Jackson. If you look at how now they both eventually ended up passing away from, drugs, propofol and what have you. But if you look at their lives, Michael Jackson could not control his narrative, and Prince could. So Prince's narrative, even towards the end, no matter how tragic it ended, he still controlled his narrative. Is one of the reasons I'm so mad at his estate now, because they got his music in credit card commercials and stuff like that. I'm like, that was never Prince. What are you doing? Like, I know he has a sister, and if I ever meet her, we're going to have some words, but that's that. Michael Jackson could not control his own narrative at a certain point.
Do you think it's being controlled now since he's gone?
No, it's still not, because there are so many misconceptions about Michael Jackson. I don't think he was ever the perv that I do think he did not have any self-awareness, because even if you do like hanging out with kids, cool. That stops at a certain place. You got to go, hey, oh, wait a minute. You will not.
But do you think that his family, like after the first, I don't want to turn this into a whole Michael Jackson thing, but do you think that after the first accusation, that his family should have stepped in, when the second one was coming or whatever, it was like, okay, Michael, you just survived this.
Michael did not have that.
Bro, you need to chill. I know you like him, and I know you haven't done this, but stop inviting these people over.
And that's
they're opportunists.
That's exactly what I mean by not being able to control the narrative. There was not somebody in Michael Jackson's life to tell him no. And it ain't got to be an ugly no. It ain't got to be Joe Jackson beating you no. It can simply be a matter of, Michael, the optics on this don't look good. Yes, you want to hang out with him? Hey, from the moment you wake up, we got him here. We can keep them all in Neverland. Everybody can go look at monkeys and whatever. When the nightfall happens, they got to go. And you tell Mike, it's not that we don't want you to have fun. What we do want you to do is remember, you are a black man in America. You're also one of the most famous faces on earth. Me hanging out with my grandkids is one thing. Michael Jackson hanging out with kids that he brought in is something totally different. The perceptions are different, and that's what I mean by self-preservation. Michael didn't have that. He never controlled the narrative, so he never had a sense of self-preservation. So he needed somebody there to preserve Michael for Michael, not his legacy, not his money, not his fame, simply for Michael. He needed somebody there to, hey, Mike, look me in the, hey, Mike, don't do that. Don't.
Do you think you control your own narrative, and do you think you will always be able to?
It's funny because some of the people that have come after me have been like, if you listen to some of the accusations that have been passed about me, that don't even sound like the person I have ever been. Like, I don't know who this person is. There was a white woman who accused me of bullying and harassing her. The way it started was she said something and I just responded. That's all I did, just responded. Well, she didn't like that. And she made it her business. She went on Reddit. She went on Reddit and accused me of harassing and bullying women. Now, to anybody that's ever been around me or my family, my friends, my wife, my kids, my grandkids, they know better than that. You know, I am my mother's son. And if one thing that my mother taught me was you give respect to women at all times, even when you don't like them. Even when you have a huge beef with them, you give respect to women. My mother raised me to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, yes, sir, and no, sir, to everyone. If they're older than me, here you go, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Here you go. Even when I've had white people cuss me out and call me all kinds of N-words, and I've still been, thank you, sir. Go on about your business, because I could crush you, but I won't. So the idea of me harassing a woman is asinine. And that's the reason I can say I control my narrative is because I really don't have one. I don't have, there's no narrative to be had. Now, when I'm gone, you know, when I'm with the ancients, that is for my wife and my kids and grandkids to guard. You know, my legacy will be whatever it is, whatever work that I've done here, that's on my wife and kids to guard. But I don't care if somebody doesn't like me. My thing is always going to be the truth does not care. Mm-hmm. The honest to God truth does not care. Mm-hmm. Truth isn't pretty. Truth isn't wrapped up in a bow. It mm-hmm. doesn't end in an hour. Truth goes on. And mm-hmm. whether you like me, like my nails, like that I'm a liberal or whatever, you can't argue with the truth. One of the things that a lot of people, and they don't understand, how do you still have a TikTok account? Because nothing I say is incendiary. Mm-hmm. I don't go around going to people's houses and doxing them and stuff. I don't do any of that. Now, if you have a dispute with me, I've said it to everyone. You come to me with respect, I will give it to you, even if we completely disagree. The moment I feel like you're not being respectful to me, I'm not going to be respectful to you. I play by the rules. I play the game by the rules that everybody have set so far. You know, I'm not the sort of person that's going to let conservatives tell black folks what they should and shouldn't be doing, not without me saying something. Now, if you come to me respectfully and would like to have a conversation about what goes on in the black community, understanding that I'm going to bring up what goes on in the white community, we could disagree. We could be cussing at each other, but I'm still going to show you the respect. But if the first words out of your mouth is, I can't respect a man with fingernails and this, that, and the third, I'm already on disrespect mode. Mm-hmm. That is the key to whatever longevity and following that I have is I'm not backing down. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to say exactly what I feel, how I feel it, whether you like it or not. The reason me cussing is it's probably one of the reasons I'm not on MSNBC. It's because I use profanity. But the thing is, so does
We could
everybody
still
else.
be on it, just be like every beep, 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 and we're like, okay,
and the
can we
thing
get
is,
the transcript?
yeah, and the thing is, I have a communications degree. I know how to. Oh, well, I'm on a nationwide television show with Joy Reid or Hassan Minaj. Okay, I won't use the F word, but I can still get my point across. I use profanity sometimes as a shock thing.
Well,
But
yeah, and
the
you
work,
and you get it across.
it,
So,
go
so
ahead.
Thomas, I have so many questions for you.
I'm right here.
Define a Karen.
Okay. Anytime somebody isn't centered, they're not centered in a conversation, and they notice, they become a Karen. And the funny thing is, there are black Karens.
Yes,
There are
there
black
are.
male Karens.
There
They
are.
they have a tendency to go after black women, but they're black male Karens.
Yes, they
And
are.
my God, center me. Why aren't you focused on my feelings? Why do you have to have a story when I have a story too, and mine's more important? You become a Karen. And that's exactly what makes Karens right there.
So, I say this, and I probably shouldn't because it's about Sam Jackson.
Okay.
But when we see like the Candace Owens, the Herschel Walkers, whatever, I say, yeah, there goes Sam Jackson because I'm thinking about Django Unchained.
You're thinking about Steven from Django.
Yes, so I'm like, there goes Sam Jackson, and I know I shouldn't say that, but that's what it is. But do you think that we'll play this? What do you think about those Karens who have gotten into the habit when they're in an argument or want to make a point to black men that they're starting to slap them?
Oh, see,
because I have a problem because when these black men turn to go slap the crap out of these Karens, then the husbands are like, oh, don't, well, where were you when she was starting this stuff? And then she slaps him and you're still standing there. And all of a sudden he wants to haul up and beat the crap out of her. All of a sudden it's like, oh, don't hit my wife. So
I have the biggest issue with that because in my life, I have had one fight with a woman. One. And I was a freshman in high school. I was 130 pounds, soaking wet. And a girl who was all of 250. She was all of 250. She lived in my neighborhood, as a matter of fact. Said something to my girlfriend. I said, hey, leave my girlfriend alone. And I'll beat you up. So she came out and literally jumped on top of me, started choking me, punched me in the face. I got out from underneath her. I threw like 15 punches at her and then got escorted off the bus. The first thing that happened when I got home is my mother slapped me because she's like, yeah, I told you never to hit women, which is true. My mother raised me never to hit a woman. It wasn't until she found out later on that, well, this girl started it. In a situation where I'm about to get hit, I'm going to tell this man, come get your wife. Come get your wife. Because I will be respectful. You want to use an F-bomb on me? I'll use two on you. Whatever. Words never hurt me. But if you put your hands on me, I need you to find whoever it was that you showed up here with. Because I'm going to give you one. I'm going to stand, take that first shot. And I'm going to say, you better knock me out with it. You better knock me out. Because I don't look for a fight with anyone, male or female. But I'm not about to let anybody just beat me up. So when I see videos where these Karens are just slapping people, I always say, I can't do it. You got one shot. You better knock me out. You better not be here when I wake up. Because the second shot, I'm defending myself. That is all and I'm like making sure. Is there a camera? Y'all see this, right? Yep. Y'all saw her hit me? Okay. She's got one. She got one. The second one, I'm tearing your head off. Because now I'm defending myself. And if your husband shows up, tearing his head off too. So y'all can just be walking around here, two headless people, just flopping around like damn dead cockroaches because I'm asking you as nicely as possible, keep your hands off of me. And if my wife is there, I ain't even got to do that. I don't. The moment she raise up to do this, my wife is crazy. She will punch somebody in the mouth. And after that, I'm like, hey, your woman did this. The reason she's running around right now getting kicked in the throat because she tried to hit me. And my wife knows my brother and I both were raised this way. We don't start, like, I don't understand that concept of punching a woman in the face. I'm going to do it if I have no other choice. If you're leaving me in a corner, I'm coming out of that corner. I got to go home. I got a wife and kids to go home to. And I'm not about to sit here and let you just smack me. And they only made one Martin Luther King. Only one. No.
So I have to disagree with you on one thing.
Okay.
You said words don't hurt. I think words do.
They do. They do, only because of where they come from. Like I was telling you, the month of February, we're gonna hear a whole bunch of white people ask why they can't say the N-word. This is how social media works. Every February, why can't we say the N-word? During Hispanic Heritage Month, how come we can't say sombreros and tequilas and blah blah blah? It happens. I'm so used to white people wanting to say the N-word that when a white person does say the N-word, it doesn't even bother me anymore. As long as you don't say it in my presence or say it towards me, I have no problem with you saying it. And it's not because I'm giving you a pass. It's just that word is the one. We got all these technological advances. Black people have just been doing greatness for 200 something odd years. And the only thing y'all can think of is the N-word. Really? There's the hill you want to die on. You don't want to die on George Washington Carver making peanut butter or nothing. You want the N-word. So words can hurt. Words absolutely can hurt if you give them power. To me, I've had people call me everything except my name because of my fingernails. If I gave one person that much power over me, I would close up shop and just, go work in a library. So at a certain point, you can't let the words affect you. That's why I said to me, saying something about, you can say whatever you want to about me. I don't care. Keep my mother's name out of it. My mom's dead. She did nothing to you. Keep my wife and kids' name out of it. My wife is here. My kids are here. They ain't ever done nothing to you. Leave my dog out of it. Don't even say anything about my dog. My dog ain't done nothing to you. Keep your focus on me. The only time I will ever let a word get me out of that is when they go after somebody other than me. I'm supposed to be the lightning rod. I'm the guy with the damn microphone and the camera, and I'm the person you don't like. Mm-hmm. But to say something about my daughter or say something about my sons or say something, don't do that. Don't do that. And that's when words start to hurt me. When you say it about me, I don't care. Most of the time, most of the stuff people have said about me, I've already said about myself. I'm supposed to be the lightning rod. Like if you and I were out and somebody they don't like me, but they're going to say something about you. No, you're going to leave her alone. She didn't do anything to you. We are hanging out. You don't like me. Say whatever you want to about me. Leave her the hell alone. Don't say nothing to her. Don't speak to her. Don't speak about her. You can say she's out with this, that, and the third. Whatever. You want to call me, pick a name, pick an insult, whatever. Fine. I don't care. But she's the innocent party in this. Just because you don't like me does not mean you attack her. That's the only time words bother me. That's the only time words bother me.
I'm going to throw out 3 names.
Okay.
And I just want you to tell me what you think.
Okay.
First one, Nat Turner.
Underrated revolutionary. Underrated.
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Could have done more. She had more of an influence in the White House than people realize, and she could have done a lot more. She could have. She could have. A lot of the stuff that FDR wanted to pass for Black folks and for others, Eleanor would have been the perfect person to talk about it. I think that's what Hillary Clinton tried to be when Bill was president. She tried to channel her Eleanor Roosevelt, and it didn't work. It failed spectacularly. Had Eleanor Roosevelt been out front, a lot more would have gotten done a lot faster. But.
Okay. Actually, I have 2 people. Now that you said Eleanor Roosevelt, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to my third person.
Okay.
Christopher Columbus.
Genocidal maniac who doesn't know how to pilot a boat. I mean, seriously, why are we honoring him? We're gonna honor the dude that got lost. My dad didn't use a map very much either. We're gonna honor him with a holiday. Like, no, Christopher, how you gonna discover something people are already on? A. B, how you gonna discover something you got lost in? You didn't discover anything, dude. Like, genocidal maniac that we honor because he got lost.
Yeah, he killed a whole bunch of people. But anyway.
Yeah, for nothing. For absolutely nothing.
For nothing. Okay, and then the last person, which I don't know, you two may want to hold this one because it may be a trigger word. Hitler.
Okay. Hitler took white privilege way the hell past its expiration sell-by date. Hitler is a egotistical idiot. The reason I say that is because a lot of his feelings about superiority of the Aryan race started after Germany got their ass whooped in World War I. Mm-hmm. He was when George Herbert Walker Bush lost the presidency against Bill Clinton. He was all gracious and thank you, we ran a hell of a race and da. George W. was over there fuming. I'm going to get him back. That's Hitler. Hitler looked at what happened to Germany in World War I and had bad feelings about it. And then instead of him looking inward, he decides, it's the Jews' fault. Now, I know that's...
But what's interesting, though, is that Hitler was not German. He was Austrian.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. So you don't even go here. That's how, if I had been a Jewish person during that time, I'd have been like, you don't even go to this school. Why are you here? Austria didn't lose the damn war. Germany did. Why are you even talking? Like, Hitler really, truly, honestly believed the BS. And the problem with Hitler believing the BS is that he took it to, where BS eventually ends up going. Murder has to happen. When you have an ideology that is rooted in stupidity, death follows. I don't care. Death follows. Of course, Hitler was going to end up doing exactly what he did because he's an idiot. He had his feelings hurt. Oh, we got beat up during World War II. It was the Jews' fault. No, it could possibly be because Germany, they had the advantage until they decided to go effing with the Russians. And then the Russians was like, no, you get back, go over there. And Hitler took it wrong. So the next time they decide to do it, he tried to base it on ideology. The superiority of the German people. You ain't even German, dog. You are Austrian. You don't sit your painting ass down someday. That's how I feel about Hitler. He took white privilege to its natural ending, which is genocide. That was him. When you believe you're superior to other people, death follows. I don't care who it is.
Why do you think that there's such a disparity between when they're actually the same to me? Mm-hmm. People are not, they aren't ready to say to Jewish people, well, forget about it. Get over it. Even though they do. And there are some people who say that the Holocaust never happened. But why do you think is more so or less with that as opposed to telling Black people, get over it, blah, blah, blah. You need to forget about it. But with Jewish people, they kind of tiptoe around. Is it because Jewish people own so much and they have, power and...
Jewish people will not go for the BS. And that it's not that Jewish people there are Jewish people that have power and there's Jewish people who don't. There are some Jewish people who, they've lived in Brooklyn, in Brighton Beach or whatever for as long as possible. They're not rich. They're not powerful. They're not influential. They just like, look, I'm Jewish. I'm just trying to go to work. But I think Jewish people do something that Black people cannot. And that is remind people this was not that long ago. See, with the passage of time, it's easier to forget an atrocity. It's easy.
But
It's
okay,
much easier.
but you look at civil rights and the atrocities that happened with civil rights was 20 years after, well 10 to 20 years after World War II. And the atrocities is like, okay, no, we were not put in gas chambers.
But we were lynched. We were lynched. We were chased out of our, we were chased out of stuff.
Right. And we were killed and we were beaten and we were, so again, it's like when you say it's not that long ago, no, it's not, because civil rights was right here. So
think about it this way. Okay. So somebody once said that the reason people look at black and white pictures as so long ago is because it's a distance. They act as though there was no color when these black and white pictures were taken. No, stuff was in full color, but people purposely print them in black and white to make it seem like the passage of time. It was years ago. The one thing about Jewish people that, number one, it's one of the reasons black folks and Jewish people should be a hell of a lot closer than we are. And the other thing is, it is something that black people can learn from. We should never accept any sort of revision to history. We shouldn't. I noticed that everybody gets a chance to talk about critical race theory except black folk. Everybody else can have an opinion. Black conservatives can have an opinion. White liberals can have an opinion. White conservatives can have an opinion. Black people cannot. It's almost as if we're in the room and our mom and dad are fighting over the top of us and we don't even get a chance to say anything. Jewish people will not accept that. There is no conversation around.
But black people do push back.
They do. But you also notice that if there's 10 black people wanting to talk about the true history of slavery, Jim Crow, and Reconstruction, the white folks who don't want to have that conversation will find that one black person who believes like they do. And they will push them out front.
That's true.
Oh, here you go. He'll talk for us. Look at Stephen Miller. Look at Jared Kushner. Jewish people don't like that man. They don't like either one of them. And they will not accept Stephen Miller cannot talk for the Jewish community in America. He can't. His own uncle threw him under the bus. That is something that black people, we can learn from that. We absolutely can. It's not that Jewish people have power. It's that there's a standard. Here's where Jewish people are. Here, the ceiling and the floor are right here. They're right here. So anybody that tries to talk past this, Jewish people are shutting it down. They're shutting it down. They're like, oh, wait. You went to Stephen Miller to talk about anything Jewish. Nah, we're good. Get him up out of there. He got to go. You will have phone calls. You will have Jewish communities calling going, hey, Stephen Miller does not talk for us. Y'all need to keep him off of television. He'll go to Fox News, and that'll be the end of it. We, on the other hand, we see a Jason Whitlock or a Candace Owens or a Larry Elder or something like that. We don't make phone calls. Hey, Larry Elder don't speak for black people. What is this? Get him up out of there. Candace Owens doesn't talk for me. She got to go. And it's one of the things, the other thing that the Jewish community can learn from us is resiliency. They can learn. We, black people, strive despite. We strive despite other things. Ron DeSantis can say whatever he wants to about AP African American Studies in Florida. It will not play in New York. It will not play in California. There are parts of California that will run Ron DeSantis up out of there. They will. And that's why I say the black community and the Jewish community have more in common than we realize. And it's not a matter of, well, I have to be Jewish or they have to be Christian. It's more along the lines of shared suffering. And the fact that the narrative will be written by other people, but we're the only ones that can allow that narrative to flourish. If Larry Elder or Candace Owens says something that is totally blatantly against what history says about black people are the only ones that can challenge her on it. White folks ain't gonna do it. I mean, there will be some, But that is our responsibility. Hey, Candace, shut up. And it can't be, because the other thing is, you have a lot of black men that will not follow a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that within the Jewish community. I don't. It might be a very patriarchal community, but every Jewish person speaks. Whoa, wait a minute, hold on. No. That person can't talk for us. But there are some black men that won't follow it if black women, which I've said before, are our truth tellers. So if black women are standing up saying, hey, we canceling Larry Elder, he can't talk for us no more. There's some black men who are like, I ain't gonna follow her. Why not? She's telling the truth. There's some black men who have egos so big that they refuse to follow somebody that ain't them. We have to learn that a disrespect to a black woman is a disrespect to black people. A disrespect to a black man is a disrespect to black people. And oh, well, he's married to this or she's married to it. I don't care. Our history should be a lot more important to us than to allow just anybody to speak for us. And if we can learn one thing from the Jewish community, is that there's certain people that can talk for them and there's certain people that can't. And when they do speak, when those certain people who do speak, when they speak about the Jewish community, it's a shared history. One person telling a Jewish person to get over it will receive the wrath of the rest of the community. And that's exactly
so now I'm going to ask you about Whoopi, because honestly, to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what she did wrong.
You know what? I think the thing with Whoopi Goldberg is from a different time. Now, it's not an excuse in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It is simply a matter of Whoopi's worldview is shaped differently than, say, any of her contemporaries.
But again, it's like, but yet if someone said what, the problem that I have is, okay, so Whoopi said what she said, okay, and then she went back and she says something again. People are like, oh, she still hasn't learned her lesson. But how many times have people said things about black people? How many times have we heard Michelle Obama wasn't, aping heels and what happened? Where was the outrage? So, and someone said that, to me, where's the outrage? So it's like, exactly what did she do that you guys haven't been doing to us? Mm-hmm. And then, as I said to someone the other day, I was like, well, it's okay for you all to say it. But then you all are like, well, I was just kidding. But you're kidding, or it's just a joke when you get called out. So then I ask, what did Whoopi do?
She did. And that's the thing. I don't think Whoopi did anything wrong. I really honestly don't think she did anything wrong.
I don't think she did anything wrong.
Does having a spotlight, like being on The View for as many years as she had, you're going to mess up.
Right.
You're going to say something.
But did she mess up, or did she just say something that she thought?
She said what she thought. I didn't like when the Cosby accusations first started gaining more light. Whoopi defended Bill Cosby. I didn't like it. But I wasn't trying to get her off of television. Like, yo, Whoopi got to go. No, I was more along the lines of, I don't believe that. And if that's what you think, Whoopi, fine. I think Whoopi has the added burden of being not only a black woman, but a Jewish convert. So everybody's going to synchronize. They're going to scrutinize her because they don't like what she says in the first place. They don't like the fact that Whoopi is very upfront about her politics. They don't like the fact that Whoopi is very upfront about, oh, well, I've known this person for this amount of time. She defended Roman Polanski. I ain't like that. I didn't. Mm-hmm. But I was also not making phone calls to get her off of television.
Right.
At some point, we have to be honest about, perception is one thing. You can perceive me one way. I can perceive myself one way. If your perception of me doesn't match mine, that doesn't mean that I don't want you to. I don't want you to speak. You can't never talk. No, it's more along the lines of, okay, well, I know that's not true, and then going about my business. But Whoopi is a black woman in an industry that routinely disrespects, disregards, and blows off black women. They don't give they don't give Rosie O'Donnell or Roseanne Barr half of the criticism. And I'm talking this is just comedians. They don't give Roseanne Barr or Rosie O'Donnell half the scrutiny that they give to Whoopi Goldberg. You know, it's the same thing I say about when black folks believe that, okay, the situation with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Okay, I said right attitude, wrong place. Been saying that. You could have challenged him in the back. That's why the cloakroom's so big. Catch him back there, whatever you want to do, fine, nobody sees it. But a lot of people were under the impression that, okay, we need to cancel Chris Rock. No, we don't. He made a stupid joke. You say it's a stupid joke to him. You let him know that the majority of the black community did not appreciate you going after a sister like that. And then you going about a business. Because again, you can dislike what somebody says without wanting them completely gone. That's what they tried to do with Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg says something and it carries more weight because she's on The View. But if Whoopi Goldberg had a podcast and it only had like 500 people listening to it, and she said the same thing, would it make any more of a difference? It's the light and it's the spotlight and the place and the timing. And that's one of the things about Jewish people. They don't care. Their timing is always, they are always on guard for that, for any disrespect towards the Jewish faith, any disrespect towards Jewish people, things of that nature. So when Jewish people tell you, hey, this person's being anti-Semitic, 9 times out of 10, they're right. Black people need to be the exact same way. If Whoopi Goldberg saying something is a problem, then what your job is, hey, Whoopi, between us, it wasn't cool. But when you go out, you don't let anybody repeat. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm a dog out Whoopi Goldberg. No, you're not. No, you're going to leave Whoopi alone. We will talk to Whoopi. We, as black people, will sit down and go, Whoopi, I ain't appreciate that. You was defending this. You was over here defending this. We ain't like it. But when it goes out there, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not about to sit here, because I've heard white people say some of the nastiest things about that woman. And I'm sitting there going, yes. I'm like, just because you didn't like what she said, you didn't like it. Now we're going to disrespect her looks, her age, her background, the fact she's an actress, the fact she's a black woman, the fact that she's a black mother. Nah, no, we're not doing that. That's one of the things the Jewish people, you can say, you can talk about Hitler was this, that, and the third, but you ain't going to escape what Hitler did, because Jewish people ain't about to let you do it. They're not going to. Now, if it's a Jewish person saying it, Jewish people will grab them and decide, what are you talking about? What was that all about? Why are you over here praising this man? What are you doing? Stop. But then if somebody tries to say something to this Jewish person that said this, and they're anti-Semitic, the Jewish people will swarm you. That's what black folks need to do. Whoopi Goldberg didn't say anything wrong that we could not. If you thought it was wrong, it's something we, as a community, could have addressed to her directly. Those sort of conversations, black folks, we've been having them long before there was a spotlight.
Yes,
what do they say? They family outside. Can't nobody.
And Thomas, I'm glad you said that, because I was literally had a conversation with someone about this yesterday, where I said, because he says, I never hear anything, about black on black crime. I said, oh, we have the conversation. We just keep it in house.
Yes.
It's like, we gonna keep this. We definitely have them. But it's like
there have been programs put together by black people for black communities addressing black on black crime. But when you get some random out of nowhere white guy that wants to talk about it, you damn right we gonna. Who are you? You're not here doing this work.
Right.
It's a way of thinking that a lot of black people have. We need to adopt it only because it spares our own communities. It spares our mental health, because we're not fighting on two fronts. So the perfect example is the death of Tyree Nichols. So the conversation started off with, well, it was 5 black cops and 1 black guy. Black folks is like, no, we're not letting you have that conversation. Don't go there. Don't. Stay on message. Stay on message. And then when the video came out, you started seeing a lot more white people talk about if he had just complied. Again, we not having this. Black people like, hey, stay on message. Hey, he's dead. We don't want to hear that he could have just complied. It wouldn't have mattered. He's still dead. Stay on message.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's one of us that is leading that message, especially when you know for a fact they're only there because they're black. I say all the time, how come Candace Owens never talks about anything involving Zelensky in Ukraine? Why? Because don't nobody care what Candace Owens thinks about Ukraine. They don't. She got one job. You bring your black behind up in here. You are the cheerleader for the right wing. When it comes to something black, you are the face of us saying these things to the black community. You don't get a chance to talk about anything else. Jason Whitlock only shows up when it's a black athlete doing something non-black or pro-black or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They don't bring these people in to talk about anything else.
No.
And unfortunately, the only ones that don't notice it are the people they're bringing in. Black folks have to be more like our Jewish brothers and sisters. We need to take any level of disrespect and just shut it down. I could not be a black person in Texas.
That's being, well, I couldn't be a black person in Texas. I couldn't be a black person in Florida.
When I saw that curriculum, when I saw that curriculum and they were talking about involuntary immigrants, I was done. Yeah. Black folks should have shut the entire state of Texas down. The whole state. You're not about, because what happens is you let that fester. They're not slaves, they're involuntary immigrants. Now you got some goofy white person out of nowhere saying, you guys weren't slaves, y'all were involuntary immigrants. So we could deal with him. What happens when the black guy starts talking?
Mm-hmm.
And you know he's coming. Mm-hmm. Because they need to be able to shelter. They got to be able. Mm-hmm. We just put out something real controversial. We need a black face to sell it. Mm-hmm. Okay, when that black face shows up, tear him up. Tear him up. Just literally do exactly what Jewish people would do. You're not about to talk for us, man. You're not. If you don't sit your, I believe in involuntary immigrancy ass down some damn where. We didn't ask for you to talk for us. We don't need you to talk for us. And if that's how you get in the picture, mm-hmm. That's how you start the dialogue. You start it off with, you will respect me. You will respect my community. You will respect our history. Mm-hmm. You will not carve it out. You will not tell me it makes you feel uncomfortable. If my kids can live it, your kids can learn about it. Mm-hmm. And you will not just put any black puppet that you find up to speak for us. Mm-hmm. That's how there is literally nothing that the Jewish community does that we cannot do. And one of the things I said, what they can learn from us is resiliency. Because we know these people don't like us. We know it. And yet what do? We thrive. Black women still lead the way in education. Black women still lead the way in the workforce. Black women lead the way in protest. These are the ones that stand up for all of us. So guess what? You don't have to like us. You don't have to like what we say, but you won't disrespect us. We're going to thrive. We're going to thrive. We're not about to let you just push us off as involuntary immigrants or woke this or woke that. Nah. We're not gonna. Our respect is here. The ceiling and the floor are right here. You will give us this, or you can get out of our face. That's what I mean by Jewish people can learn resiliency from us. We can learn standing up for ourselves from them. That to me is more important than anything else. But I know I'm babbling. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, so I'm gonna start wrapping it up, but I just have one last question for you.
Okay.
Out of all this, Thomas, everything that you're doing, your radio show, your TikTok, and whatever else you do, are you having fun?
That's the funniest thing. I was talking to my sister a couple of months ago about this. Because she asked me that exact same thing. Are you enjoying yourself? And the only thing I could tell her is, I don't think I've ever been more alive. I don't. I realize now that my job didn't end when I took the uniform off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I have a responsibility. I don't have to be, because I tell people I'm not perfect. I'm as flawed as and effed up as anybody else. But I have a responsibility to show people who look like me, who come from the backgrounds I come from, to show them that there is more than just this. You know, I want, the one thing I want for Black folks more than anything is for us to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see us dancing. I want to see us singing. I want to see us leading. I don't have to have a dog in the fight. I don't. I don't have to. I don't have to be a part of it. I just want to spark the dialogue. Whatever comes after this, I'm okay with. This is why I say I'm having the time of my life. I am starting dialogues. I've gotten a little bit of fame out of it, and I'm glad for it. But I'm sparking dialogue. That to me is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
The next generation of people, long after I'm dead, they'll find those videos and they'll go, you know, he had it on the ball. You know, I want to see Black men be more than these hyper masculine boxes. I want to see us flourish. We're peacocks, but we keep acting as though we're like a caged canary. No, we're more than just hyper masculinity and violence. We are beauty, love, light, laughter. I want to see Black women get the flowers that they deserve now. I don't care if it's one person giving it to you or a million. I want to see that. I want to see Black kids enjoying themselves, having the no matter how your circumstances end, it's about you enjoying the journey to get there in the first place. So when my sister asked me that, I said, I'm having a time of my life.
Okay.
I'm literally pushing the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how it ends, somebody somewhere one day, maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line after I'm dead, they'll go, you know, that villain guy really had a point. A lot of the things that he said actually are true. You know, I want to take that, say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. I want to take it to its natural progression,
Mm-hmm.
which is say it loud, I'm Black, I'm proud, I'm forever.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are Black, proud, and forever. My grandkids are Black, proud, and forever. I want that. And if I can make that happen, this is fun. This is the best time in the world for me. This is I don't have to work that hard. I don't got to think about it that hard. This is just simply who I am. I have a bigger platform. I have different avenues to talk about it. But what I'm doing is changing things.
Mm-hmm.
And if the day comes where the world looks different, the only thing I ask is that somebody at least spells my last name right. Just make sure if you're gonna put me in the history books, make sure you spell my last name right. That's it. That's it. So yeah, I'm having a ball. This is fun. The death threats, the aggravation, the people that come after me, it's still all because I stand for something.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat that. My sister told me, she's like, the day you stop having fun at it, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna stop doing it. I'll find something else to do. I'll write a book. I'll I don't know, buy a house, an acre of land, and then, you know, put little tiny homes on it and just write books for the rest of my life. The day I stop having fun is the day I stop doing it. But right now, I'm having a ball.
And that's how I feel. I love the podcasting. I like because I am having fun and I'm pushing the envelope. People don't always like it. I have one particular person always says Silence on there talking that racist stuff.
Yeah, apparently talking about racism means that you're racist towards white people, which whatever. I've heard it all over the past 2.5 years. Nothing surprises me anymore. And one of the things that I said when I was on your show earlier is the 3-minute rants. I don't write any of that down. That's just off the top of my head. I can spend
those are the best ones. Those are the best ones. But Thomas, I'm just gonna say keep doing what you're doing because you speaking the truth, and I'd rather you speak the truth and say it the way you say it than talk a whole lot of crap and not mean it. And so
I'm gonna try to maintain being as authentic as humanly possible. It's gonna be rough because my language is rough. I'm not always gonna be a scholar at it. I'm not always gonna be very articulate, but it doesn't mean that the passion isn't there. I still have I have a passion to change people. Like
mhm,
I want minds changed. I want hearts changed. And I'm not doing it for any reason other than it has to be done. I don't.
mhm.
If I become world famous off of this, I make a decent living or whatever, I can live with that. If I don't, I'm okay. I've done everything that I can possibly do, and I know some kid somewhere watches me, and they're like, I'm going to change the world because he said I could, and that to me, that kid is way more important than anything that I do. I'm
Good.
simply just here to spark his ideas. And when that kid changes the world, he don't even owe me a shout out or nothing. Like I said, I'll be dead long after that, whatever. But if that kid changes the world, I've done something right.
Okay.
I've earned, I've earned whatever admiration I have. So.
Okay. So, Thomas, just to wrap it up, tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay. Well, on TikTok, I am Thomas the Villain Bishop. You'll probably see like 5,000 of them. Please go follow the guy with almost 1 million followers. Hot101.net, The Villain's View on Sundays with myself, Victoria, and Joker. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us 2 hours, we'll give you the world. I have a YouTube channel called The Villains Network where you can see some of my rants and stuff like that. Check me out on Instagram. Ghostclawproductions.com if you want to buy some of our t-shirts and merch. But yeah, I'll be around. I'm around here someplace.
So, Ghost Claw Productions, that's for your merch. That's on Facebook. I'm sorry, YouTube.
You can find Ghost Claw Productions on, well, I have a Facebook channel.
Mm-hmm.
And Ghost Claw Productions is actually the website, the spring website where we sell like Villains
Okay.
Guild merch and stuff like that.
All right.
But the Villains Network is on YouTube.
Okay.
And like I said, you'll find all of our past shows. You'll find some of my rants back when I didn't really have anything to say other than, I'm kind of angry about things. And we've got some other stuff coming down the pike. So look out for us. We're gonna be around.
Okay. Just want to make sure I have everything so I can post it when I post the show. So everyone, that's it. I am happy. Like I said, this Saturday for me has been a twofer, and I am happy. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. I seriously, thank you. Anytime I get a chance to talk, I happen to like it, and I thank
Really?
you. I thank you for even thinking of me. Again, I didn't get into this for fame. I kind of just got into it because I just wanted to spark conversation, and I'm just glad that people have actually, followed me this long. And any chance I get a chance to go on anybody's show, I don't care. I go. No questions asked. Just let me know where you want me there and what we're talking about. That's it. Because I'm happy to be able to do it because a lot of people don't get a chance to do this.
Yeah.
They don't. So I thank you for this. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you.
All right. So everyone, until next time, I am Solid Blue Sister, and I will see you later. Peace.
Peace.